Let me tell you, if you'd asked me a year ago how far someone would go for HOA order, I would have said, well, there's always a line. That was before Karen, clipboard in hand, decided she was the line, the law, and the punishment. I wish I was exaggerating. I wish this whole story was just one of those suburban legends people laugh about over cheap coffee. But the truth, it's uglier than you'd think and a hell of a lot scarier. It kicked off the week my cousin Toby came to visit. I hadn't seen him in ages. He'd been working 2 jobs out of state, finally scraped together enough for a little R&R, and he wanted to spend it with family, not holed up in a hotel worrying about guest rules. That's Toby, big, grin, quick wit, sharper than most, the sort of guy who always offers to wash your dishes even if he didn't eat. He's got darker skin than mine, an easy laugh, and a habit of singing off-key when he thinks no one's listening. The first morning I spot Karen. Yeah, that Karen hovering by my driveway. She's poking at my sprinkler heads, which, surprise, aren't even on her side of the property line. She pretends to be inspecting while sneaking glances at Toby through her sunglasses. Later that day, she knocks. "Excuse me, there's a strange individual around your house, just looking out for you." When I told her, "That's my cousin," her face froze like she bit into a lemon, then reset so fast it'd make your neck hurt. "Oh, that's fine," she chirped, but you could tell she was itching to file it away for later. From then on, the air shifted. Karen started clocking our every move. She waved at me, big performative, but watched Toby like he was a stray dog digging up her roses. Anytime he'd sit out front, she'd circle the block, slow windows down, clipboard in her lap. One afternoon, she just walks right up. "So what does he do?" "How long's he staying?" "You know we need to keep track of guests for, safety reasons." I answered as polite as I could, but her pen carved angry grooves into that poor clipboard. You could almost hear the rules loading in her brain, ready to fire. Look, I get it. Some folks really love their order, but there's order, and then there's this. Before I get too deep, tell me, have you ever had a neighbor like that? Drop your city or country in the comments. I want to see just how far stories like this can travel. A few days pass. Karen calls again. Her tone's all honey and barbed wire. "Just wondering, how long is your cousin staying?" I'm already gritting my teeth, so I just say, "He's visiting. That's all you need to know." She laughs quick and hollow, then mutters, "People like him, you know, sometimes they overstay." That's when my jaw clenched. Later, she corners me at the mailbox. No official issue yet, but some residents feel uneasy. Property values, safety, community standards, you understand. I remind her guests are allowed under HOA policy. She just waves it off. Rules can always be reviewed. Her little victory smirk told me this was just her opening move. At the next HOA meeting, she pounced. Non-residents using amenities, draining resources, introducing unknowns to our safe community. She never said Toby's name, but every glance, every word was an arrow aimed right at him. No one spoke up, not a soul. She suggested tighter guest enforcement, all while pretending it was for everyone's benefit. I sat there, my blood boiling, watching heads nod and papers shuffle. That week, things started changing fast. Toby tried to hit the gym attendant, stopped him. Suddenly, guests weren't allowed during peak hours, which mysteriously covered almost every hour of daylight. Pool. They hassled him over his wristband. The lounge door locked. Every time the rules shifted depending on whether Toby was with me or not. I confronted Karen. She plastered on her innocent act. "Oh, it's not personal, but if you push it, could escalate." That word stuck with me, escalate. She wasn't calming things. She was poking the bear, waiting to see who'd snap first. Then came the day everything snapped. House was quiet, almost peaceful. Toby was in the bathroom, humming off-key, shower running. I was rinsing a mug in the kitchen, enjoying that rare moment of calm, when I heard the scream. Not a drawn-out horror movie thing, but a raw, sharp sound that turned my veins to ice. I bolted down the hall, heart pounding. Toby lay on the tiles, water pooling, twisted up with one arm pinned beneath him, face pale and breathing ragged. He'd slipped hard. I knelt beside him, my hands shaking, trying to ask if he could move. He tried, winced, and shook his head. I fumbled for my phone, dialed 911, stammered out the address. The ambulance came fast, lights blazing, crew moving like clockwork. Paramedics checked his pulse, stabilized him, asked calm, practiced questions. Toby, even then, cracked a weak joke about his vacation luck. That's him always trying to keep things light. That's when the nightmare showed up. Karen barged in, voice shrill and echoing off the hallway walls. "Stop. You can't treat him. He's not a resident. He doesn't pay HOA fees. You're not allowed to use community resources." One paramedic blinked, honestly confused. "Ma'am, we're emergency services. That's not how this works." But Karen was already amped, raising her voice, insisting the rules came first. She said letting the ambulance treat Toby would set a dangerous precedent. She threatened consequences, eyes wild, fingers stabbing the air like she was citing the Constitution. The paramedics, to their credit, ignored her. They kept working, checking for broken bones, calmly explaining that yes, they were going to treat the injured man, HOA policy be damned. But Karen kept pacing, getting louder, waving her clipboard around like it was a badge. By then, neighbors had gathered. Some were whispering, some filming on their phones. The tension was a living thing, thick and electric. Karen seemed to feed on it. She yelled, "I warned you all. This is what happens when you let outsiders in." When they moved Toby onto a stretcher, Karen stormed off to her car. I thought she was done finally, but then she reappeared, metal bat in hand. "Yeah, you heard that right, a bat." Someone screamed her name, but she didn't even blink. She charged, swinging with a fury I've never seen. First hit caught a paramedic on the head, a sickening clang that made the whole world go silent. Second swing dropped her to the ground. She didn't get up. Chaos. Screaming. Neighbors shrieking, phones snapping photos, someone shoving the bat away. I knelt beside the paramedic, checking for breath, while Karen kept shouting about rules, her chest heaving like she was the one hurt. Police arrived so fast it was a blur. They tackled her, cuffed her, dragged her to a cruiser while she ranted about lawsuits and her authority. Every word was recorded, body cams, neighbor phones, security cams. There was no escape hatch for her this time. The paramedic survived, thank God, after surgery and a mountain of recovery. As for Karen, she got 6 years in state prison plus nearly $500,000 in restitution, medical bills, lost wages, the whole works. The HOA dropped her like a bad habit, dissolved the committee she'd ruled with an iron fist. That was the day the whole neighborhood exhaled, like someone finally opened a window after years of stale air. But there's something you don't see on the news clips or HOA bulletins. The lesson that sticks with you rattling around at 3 a.m. It's not just about rules or even power. It's about what happens when fear becomes a weapon and kindness turns into suspicion. It's easy to paint someone as a villain until you realize how thin that line really is between keeping order and losing your humanity. So yeah, justice came down hard. But the damage left cracks in more than just one clipboard. Some folks still whisper, still wonder where the line is between protecting a community and destroying what makes it one. Now here's what I want to know. Did Karen really get what she deserved? Or did everyone in their own way lose something that day? Drop your thoughts below. Where's the line between order and overreach, between community and control? And if you've got your own HOA story, especially the kind that still keeps you up at night, I want to hear it. Let's see if there's still a little justice left in the world, one story at a time.